All right, so now we are dealing with logic, and logic we need if statements. So let's see what we can do with if statements. Let me open our default HTML page and save it as if statements.php. Okay, there we go. So let me put if statement over there. So what is an if statement? Well, an if statement is one that allows you to create logic. This is what makes machines appear like they think, because they can respond to different conditions. All right, so let's say, for example, there's a condition here. Let me set two variables. Let me say there's one variable y is equal to, let's say 5, and then I say x is equal to 8, something like that. So let's say these values are supplied by a user, and a user types in these numbers. We assign them to these variables, then we try to check which of them is bigger than the other. So we'll say if open close bracket. This is how the if statement works. It's like this. The condition is in there, and then the code that will be executed. So this is generally how the if statement works. But now, considering PHP doesn't actually care about white space, what we usually do is we separate these two like that, okay, just so we can read it properly. So if this condition is true, this code will be executed. If not, this entire thing will be skipped and the running will continue down here. So let's see an example here. We can say something like if y is greater than x, then let's type in some code. Let's say y is greater, like that. Or we could say, we can add multiple statements here. Let me see, we echo this. Okay, let's try to run this and see what we get. So let me make sure the localhost part is added, localhost, like so. All right, so it turns out it's not true, so we don't see anything. But if we flip this, we might actually see something. Y is greater. This is how logical statements work. You can add a lot of code in between here, and it will all run for as long as that condition at the top is correct. Okay, now if you have multiple conditions that you want to deal with, you can do an else statement like that. And let me put the curly brace like that. If this is not true, then say x is greater. Okay, so if this condition is true, run that. If not, run this. Okay, so let's refresh and we see y is greater. And if we flip this to the other symbol, what do we see? X is greater. So this is how a machine can make decisions based on input. Now you can put many of these in between. You could even put another else if statement here, which says else if. Okay, so this is another condition again. You can say y greater than 0, or less than 0, sorry, like that. Then we have a y is less than 0, like that. Okay, now you can have many of these else if. You can add another else if right there, like so, where we say x is greater, okay, and so on. So you can add multiple of these. Now else will happen if none of these happen. If all these are false, else will happen. But if this is true, only this will execute. The rest of it will be ignored. And so this will happen like this. It will come through here and then skip to the end. If this is not true, it will try the second statement. If this is true, then only this part will run, and then it will skip to the end, and so on. Now this will run, the else will run if none of these above actually run. So it's very possible to actually leave out the else if you want, so that only these conditions end up running, and if nothing else happens, it just continues down there. Okay, either way it continues, because it will run here if this is true and then continue, or it will run here and then continue. But if you add an else, it means only if none of these are true, it will run this particular one right here. So this is how you use if statements to create conditions. So you can have these things like if is numeric, for example. Okay, numeric, we have a y there. Is it numeric? If is numeric, then this will run. So let's try some of these and see what we get. X is greater. Oh, we changed it. It's supposed to be x is numeric, like that. Y is numeric. So let's do that, and y is numeric. So it runs in here. So let's create a condition which will make it run in here, where y is less than 0. So let me try to see what we get here. We get y is less than 0. Okay, so which means it has ignored that and it has run here. So this is how these things work. It was y is greater, so it has gone to that one. So this is how conditions are dealt with in PHP, and we'll go into more details later.